And welcome to Kelly's Bar. This is Yards After Contact, and we're here with our second episode of the high school season between weeks 2 and 3 of the high school football season. A couple great games on tap this past weekend. Also, real quickly before we get into it, you went to the YSU game on Saturday against Pitt.
I did.
What's your thoughts? And disappointed or kind of happy that they performed so well?
You know what I mean? Obviously, in the beginning, I wasn't sure if they were going to be able to stop them. I think that first drive, they got a kind of a ticky-tacky block in the back call. As the guy was going down, it was kind of a drive killer, but you know they buckled down. They had young defensive guys, and I think playing in that big stadium, you know, even though they've played bigger places before, some of them first-year starters. So once they buckled down, they were beyond impressive. You know.
Were you disappointed once they got that far and didn't bring home the?
I was definitely disappointed. Yeah, the momentum had changed. You could definitely. I mean, it was like the air was sucked out of the stadium. It started to rain a little bit, and they buckled down. It's just, it wasn't so much that interception. It was that was a team who beat the national champion last year, and they had a lot. They had a lot back. Missed some guys on defense, but that's a. There's no moral victories, obviously, but that's huge. You know, it's just I think it's going to get you ready for these next 2 weeks. They're not Pitt as opponents, so I don't think they're going to overlook them. But, you know, that's a good way to finish a game. Not completely finish the game, but it's a good start.
Is Robert Morris a good opener? Would you say home opener?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
just to get a W, just like the bigger schools.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what it is. I think it's also being that it's a Pittsburgh school. It's a good draw. I know that I think Ron Tess will be on shortly. He has talked about the Missouri Valley potentially bringing in a Robert Morris or Duquesne. I know a lot of the college coaches that I know, they speak highly of Robert Morris as potentially becoming a contender in that division just because they're right by the airport, they're right in downtown Pittsburgh. So if they could buy into football and do those things, you know, they could be a contender.
This is Ryan Kelly, a proprietor here of Kelly's Bar and Belleria Pizza. What's going on as far as down here? And I know something's coming up big with the Penguin game in the future.
Yeah, so this past week we had a great weekend for football. I was a little bit worried with the Buckeyes.
Started with my Buckeyes.
Yeah, we did a kind of kickoff for the whole weekend. I was a little bit worried that we would be slower just because the Buckeyes played on Thursday, but you know I think we're one of the few bars in the area that actually put the YSU game on and not for any, it's kind of tough to do it, you know, but we make sure it's on a couple TVs, and we had a really good crowd for that, and it stayed all the way through. I think everyone's ready for football to be back, but you know, this week, Saturday coming up, it kind of sucks that all the games are kind of packed in from 7 o'clock on, but I think we could, you know, we'll split it up pretty nice. I'm probably going to be stuck over here in this little corner watching the Notre Dame game because although it is my bar, I do cater to the majority, you know, and we'll make sure that the Ohio State game's on over there. And
cool. High schools, we'll get into high school now. Larry Kemp's here tonight. Gerard Pat Pearson's here. Ryan Williams will bring his guys as well. Your overall thoughts, week 2, anything? Happy with Ursuline win? You probably expected it, I guess.
It's always
graduate.
good.
What year did you graduate?
2008. And, you know, last year my first year not coaching, so you know I still miss it. But I get to see a lot of games like you do now. Some other teams that I may not have seen. I was surprised with that South Range Western Reserve game. We know we had them on last week, but I didn't think it would be like that. You know, so I think looking at a couple of those games is good for Ursuline on the board. Mooney battled, it seemed like, for a little bit, and Hoban pulled away. That's who Ursuline has this week. So. Yeah, they're
interesting what Larry Kemp will say about those guys.
Yeah, they're. You know, I'm interested to hear what he has to say about them. We've played them for a few years now, so it's not going to surprise us. So you know, they got to strap it up a little bit. But I think there's a lot of good teams. Girard and Poland being one of them that are 2-0.
I think they're 2 and 3 in their region. I'm not sure the rankings.
Yeah, you know, so I know they have these Poland guys. They're going to have a big matchup with Struthers down the road. They got Howland in a few weeks. Girard's kind of
big game with Kennedy this weekend.
Yeah, so I mean that's a huge game for the area. I know Kennedy won in overtime, so we'll see. Kennedy, interesting enough, I'm sure we'll have them on this year. I talked to a couple of their coaches. They have some good players that aren't eligible until week 5. So yeah, I think now's the time to play them, I guess.
Now you're opening up a store down in Columbiana.
Yeah,
We got to get Bob Spade up here one time.
I know, you
Maybe
know,
could work on
all
that
them
for us.
guys, Coach
Cusick.
Johnson out in Salem, Coach Cusick in Crestview.
I was down South Range. Sorry to interrupt. And because of Patesta, the way he talks about the stadium over, like
Yeah.
it's never been seen or before ever,
Yeah.
right, Ronnie? But a nice facility down there, you know.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
it kind of looks like Boardman in a way, you know.
yeah, you know, they got a bunch of tough kids down there, and I think, you know, what I always talked about, Ursuline, a lot of these schools have to evolve to a Mooney. It's just a lot of kids are wrestling now, and South Range has a great wrestling program. Fitch has a great Canfield. These kids, you need those tough kids to win, and if you see that, if you look at these people who are 7-3, they got these kids that walk in, they're just, even if they're 5'10", they got cauliflower ear, but you know they'll wrestle and they'll get dirty with you.
We have the Gerard receiver here with us today, and I was talking to him before the show. He's a wrestler.
Yeah.
I never would have figured it out.
Yeah.
Belsic, and they had a 1,000-yard receiver. He runs track and he wrestles, and then wow, pretty impressive resume there.
I can't say that wrestling is something that I would have done in high school for it's just not something that
Sure.
interests me. But you know, these kids,
good for
yeah,
conditioning.
it's good for conditioning. It's they're doing
Flexibility.
something. You know, toughness.
Mike
and-
O'Hara from Boardman's a wrestler.
Yeah,
There's a couple
you know,
good,
exactly. So
good
that-
wrestlers.
that's
Canfield probably has a few. They have a great
it's something.
wrestling
You know, I think
program.
last year we had the Giordano kid
Yeah,
who was
yeah,
on, a couple
yeah,
of big
yeah,
kids,
yep.
and they're all wrestlers, man. And it's just Bob, our the camera guy and for MVP, and he's the wrestling coach. He'll attest to the value of wrestling. So that's something that's interesting that I've learned about in the last year.
And since you mentioned Sergeant Bob, MVP Entertainment does a great job for us, helping us get this program out to everybody on YouTube.
Yeah. Now, did you get to see anybody this week?
Yes, I did. Week 2, I went to, where did I go? I went to the Boardman game.
Okay.
Very impressed with the Spartans.
Yeah.
I think
How
they have a
was
nice
Howland this
combination. Howland's a little bit
Yeah.
Howland. They're Howlandish. When I see a triple stack, I just don't. I get excited in any way.
Yeah.
Although they don't use it all along, but they're still one of
Uh-huh.
the few teams in the area that do still go to that triple stack. And I guess it works certain occasions, but the offense has evolved so much that those are archaic
I think-
formations anymore. And I kind of frown upon it a little bit as a fan. But
Yeah.
I understand that Howland has success with it.
Some
I
of
guess.
the things that I've read and have seen, have talked to you, have seen, I think that some of the traditional teams who have been so good and had those big D1 guys like a Howland, like a Hubbard, they're a little bit younger now. They're kind of not so much in rebuilding, but they're young, and it was going to happen at some point. You know, you can't just always reload.
Gerard had a big victory against Hubbard. I didn't
Well,
expect.
that's one of the ones.
I didn't expect that. That was one of my games I got wrong this week.
Yeah, I talked to
along
Coach
with
Pearson
Cardinal
walking
Mooney
in,
as
and
well.
it's just those guys. It's good to see some of them teams like Poland's right back at it 2-0. Gerard back. It's good to see some of them teams getting back, catching stride. I think you start a freshman quarterback for 2 years. At some point, that guy's
Sure.
going to be good.
And he's only a junior right now.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think of Poland? They got a junior quarterback as well.
Yeah, he was a starter since he's been a freshman. So I think they got a
Two
couple.
of their big linemen are here with us.
Yeah, a
We'll
couple
talk
of
to
them big
later.
guys. I mean, and
You can see why.
a couple of their
They
dads
have
are
these
here.
little running backs, and
Yeah.
these big linemen. Boom, they're gone.
And they were saying that they're not even the two biggest kids on their team, which
Nice.
that's got to tell you something. So that's one. You talk about a game that might be on my list. That Struthers Poland game might be one. I knock on wood just because you hate to see it. I heard that Iarusa kid got banged up a little bit this past week,
Okay.
so hopefully he's okay moving forward. But it's like I said, it's good to see some of these schools getting in. I got to see a little bit. I didn't go to the Ursuline game, but I saw a little bit on film. East is getting better every week. It's just they play Boardman, who's good. Then they got Ursuline. Their schedule's tough.
It's brutal. I can't wait to see what Larry Kemp thinks about it. I'm
Yeah.
sure he'll still be very positive
Yeah,
about.
Coach Morrow's great. He's a guy I know he
Yeah.
wants to be on. He
We gotta
will
get
be
him
on
on
the
the
show.
show. Yeah.
He'll be on. So
After a big win, we'll get him up on.
absolutely, and they will win. There's some schools I know. Harding was off last week. They have Massillon this week, so that's an interesting one to see.
Columbia and Springfield. I was talking with Testa before the show, and that's one of the games. I think is that a game on your show? Was that Springfield? Yeah, that's weekend. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts, Columbia and Springfield?
I think Springfield's 0-2. So they need a little bit of bounce back. I know Columbiana wants to keep getting it going. I think I do say I agree with Ron talks about it on the show a lot. I think sometimes those Columbiana County schools get a little bit overlooked, and maybe it's because they don't have the Division I names, but Man, I mean, they play tough football. Those kids, they go and there you go with the South Range and Western Reserve
I like
game.
South Range.
Western Reserve.
I
You
called that
saw
one,
them.
yeah.
There's some good-looking kids, and then you got, that happens last week. I don't think anybody.
Not to that degree.
Coach Hake was worried about
Yeah.
it, but I don't think it's to that effect. But I think we'll see, man. Columbiana County plays good football.
What kind of plans you got this weekend coming up?
This weekend, like we said, actually Friday, we just have it set up. Friday night,
You going to Ursunhoven game?
I am going to go to the Ursunhoven game, but down here we're doing kind of Struthers teachers along with Jacqueline's Bridal inspired us a little bit. They're donating their classroom for the Hurricane Harvey benefit. So we have some guest bartenders coming in lined up. They're going to donate all their tips back. It's
Friday night?
Yeah, Friday night. So we're working.
From Struthers, did you say?
Yeah. The Struthers classroom and Jacqueline's Bridal are donating it. We on our end, we're going to donate. All the tips are going to go back, and some of the proceeds are going to go back to a Hurricane Harvey fund. So we have that on Friday. On Saturday, we have all day long games. The Smoker will be going, and the big games are on at night. And then Sunday, we have the NFL Sunday ticket again. So
Browns and
yeah,
Steelers.
Browns Steelers opening up, which is
We're going to steal one from the Steelers.
hey, you got a winning streak you got to keep intact.
There we
now.
go. 4-0.
Yeah.
We won the preseason
Yep.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be back with more later in the show with you, Ryan. And
Absolutely.
next up, we have our, I believe, first on the docket is Larry Kemp. So we'll see what he has to say about his performance in the first two games and what they got in store for the Hoven game coming up this weekend. So we'll be back with more of that and other teams as well from Kelly's Bar in Youngstown, Ohio. This is Yards After Contact. And welcome back to Yards After Contact from Kelly's Bar on Mahoney Avenue in Youngstown, Ohio. Our first guest of the night is Larry Kemp, the head coach of the Urson Irish, the 1-1 Urson Irish. Congratulations, you got your first win. Let's hope it's one of many on this brutal schedule that I see in front of me here.
That's the plan right now, Gary. That's the plan. You got to get number one before you get number two.
How did it feel? I mean, what was?
First off, a lot of credit to Youngstown East. I thought Coach Morrow has them playing very hard. They played first bell, end whistle, ran around, hit people. I thought they were very well organized and a good football team. They stay healthy. They can give people some problems.
How about the Urson Irish?
We have to stay healthy. I thought we got much better week one, week two. Week one against Benny, we lose after being tied in the fourth quarter.
Were in that? You have a chance there?
Oh, we kind of gave it away. We missed 33 tackles. It's 27-27 at the end of the third, and unfortunately we mishandled a punt. They get a short field. I think in that game they had 5 big plays that kind of got us. But again, you miss 33 tackles, you can't win in high school football.
You need every win you can get on this schedule.
Yeah, we do. That schedule is not one where you look too far ahead because the current team is one that's going to get you. We go right now, we're focused on Akron Hoban, 2-time defending state champs, Division III.
Just beat Cardinal Mooney.
They just beat Mooney. They held Ignatius in the first game to 40 yards rushing total. So we have our work cut out for us.
They have a couple D1 kids on it. They just graduated some D1 kids.
They've got a kid that's, I think, verbal to Michigan.
Lineman.
Lineman. He's 6'4", 300.
Started as a true freshman, first game.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. And they've got, I think they've got another skilled kid who's looking at Alabama.
Okay.
So, Tim Terrell's done a great job, Urson graduate.
There you go.
And, we have to come and play. Listen, I don't care who they put in front of us. Our kids got to play, and we got to compete, and we got to do the best job that we're capable of doing.
Larry, can this team withstand this schedule though?
Well,
is it too much?
I look
You got to
at
get in the
it
playoffs.
at times,
That's the goal, right?
yeah,
Is that the
our
goal?
Our goal is the playoffs. Absolutely.
Just get in and then start over.
You don't worry about anything other than that. We don't have a conference championship to play for, which is okay. But what we need to do is make sure that all hands are on deck, and if somebody goes down, it's the next man up type of philosophy. But the next man up has to be mentally into the game so that he can contribute positively.
You feel good about your situation?
I do. I like our kids. Our kids are great kids. They do whatever you ask them to do. That the assistants, my assistants, do a great job. When they want to talk, they don't want to come to me.
Any shout-outs on your
approach me.
assistants?
Well, I've got offensive coordinators Dom Catrone, Paul Kemp. My son is working with our quarterbacks. Sam Conjemi, Mooney Kid is on the line. Zach Capon, who was with Rick Shepis over at Waynesburg, and Matt Green. On the defensive end, Sammy Gianfrancesca, Pat Kelly, Tim Dubel, Matt Guineri are all there. Bobby Pogan, Pete Wersch, and R.J. Jones. Half the eight or nine guys are Urson graduates, so they know what this is about. 3 of them won state titles, so they know what this is about, and that's what makes it easier. So when the kids have an issue, they'll go see those, the staff before they'll come to me. They want to avoid me at all costs.
I'm thinking you're also going to have to beat teams like Harding, Boardman, Mooney.
Well, I was looking. That's what makes the Benny loss sting a little bit
it's
because
little points.
No disrespect to Benny, they're 2-0, but I thought playing them would be easier than playing Hovind. So now I've told the kids, and one thing we're straight up front with our kids. We put ourselves behind the 8 ball. Now we got to get one people don't think we're going to get.
Let's start with some of the guys. There is no quarterback controversy over there at all. We're hearing maybe in the preseason. Fabry is the winner there.
Fabry's the winner, and Jared has done a great job for us. He has a
3-year starter, Larry?
He's a 3-year starter. He faltered a little bit as a junior, but he's come back strong. He's accounted for 43% of our offense. He's got a completion rate of 58%. We've thrown the ball more. We've thrown the ball 35 times in 2 games. We're like 19 for 35. So I'm very pleased with how he's playing at the quarterback spot. Joe Floyd at the tailback has come in.
Love him.
Joe has 340 yards in 2 games.
Good player.
He's a real nice player. Up front, we've got.
Is Donlo back? Is he playing?
He is, but Trey's playing more defense than he's playing anything else. Didn't have a great first game. Mario Facillo didn't have a great first game. And they knew right from the get-go Saturday morning after Benedictine, they didn't have a great game. I mean, that was very clear. If they didn't know they didn't have a good game,
physically,
they're not real smart. But it was more, kind of not doing what coach to do. So the theme going in the East was be coachable. We better be coachable against Hoban. They're pulling a lot of guards. They're going to pull their center. They're running power. They're running stick. That takes us. Your keys take you to where you want to be. And our kids have to realize that's the case. The one thing I'll say about the Irish this year, Gare, is in my 6 years, we've only been an old football team 1 year. And that team took us to the state semis. I looked out last week. I said, we got sophomores out there. We've got first-year juniors out there. And so we're not as old as I thought we would be going into this. So, that's, growing pains are going to be growing pains.
Sure. And who else offensively it takes more than Fabry,
Floyd? Fabry, Floyd, James Phillips, a sophomore, is doing a good job catching the ball.
Do you miss Tristan Ballard at all? You probably don't want to mention that name.
No. James has done a great job.
Okay.
Hey, if you don't want to be part of our program, we don't miss you. We move on. And that's, I think that's any football team around. Hey, you're coaching the kids who are here. Kids who don't, aren't there, you don't worry about them.
This Riley kid's he's a good player?
Phillips is a good player. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Phillips is a good player. We've got a sophomore, Robbie Sullivan. Robbie's a junior. We got a sophomore in Julian Johnson. Small kid, took 2 real good hits last year. I mean, he's a small cat, and he got right up.
Who you got here with you tonight?
Tonight we've got Jared Fabry, quarterback. We've got Danny McCarthy, who's playing an H-back.
No relationship to McCarthy's from Mooney.
No, a different family. So we got Danny's playing an adjuster for us, outside linebacker, H-back. And
he's got great size.
Yeah, he does. He's a good-looking kid. And we've got Tyree Reeder, who does a little bit of H-back, fullback, and plays outside linebacker for us over tight ends. 3 seniors, 3 good players that we're counting on to lead us to great things.
Are they holding up their end so far?
Oh, they are. They're doing everything that you're asking them to do. It's just, I demand a higher level of play at times than the kids think they can give. You got something in the tank, believe me. You're not, you're not falling down. Get up, let's go, let's play again. This afternoon we got caught in the rain a little bit. Didn't bother me. Just stand out there, let's go play. You got to be smart though, because you're not going to go past Skelly in the rain, because then you're just going to aggravate yourself. And I didn't really want to aggravate myself. So we got our work done. We had a great practice yesterday morning, Labor Day. You got parents saying, "Do you practice on Labor Day?"
I'm gonna go to festival.
Yeah, we're laboring.
Or fair.
Yeah, we labored at 9 noon.
Full go?
Full go. We never take our pads off, Gary.
There you go.
Monday practice, you got full gear on. Thursday practice, you got full gear on. It's my philosophy that if you take the gear off, they think it's screwball time. So one thing we did, and this was the suggestion of a couple of staff guys, Sammy G and Francesca and Paul Kemp, to let music play. I said, that's fine. We'll play music. If we're not focused and we're not doing what, I will throw the speaker on Wick Avenue.
That's a truthful statement.
And you've been in practice with me. It's loud, and it's we're energetic about what we're doing.
Sure.
And that's what we want our kids to be, is energetic and do the things we want to be successful.
Can you slow Hoban down offensively?
I think our best job, our best case scenario is to take time off the clock, running the ball, scoring, and just get after them defensively. I think we just, I told the kids before the East game and kind of a pregame thing, this is my 42nd year in football. And you have to love the game of football to stay 42 years in coaching. And, you gotta have passion for the game. And, we have to play with great passion. We have to play with great energy on Friday evening at Youngstown State University. And I told the kids, shock the world. Because nobody thinks we can win.
Yeah, nobody.
Shock the world. And I've told them for 2 weeks, you're a social media guy. Me, not so much. You're much more adept at social media than I am. I'm the only guy who gets on Facebook to check on his 2 kids, not knowing they never friended me. So it's been 5 years. They've never friended me one bit. So I just read it. I think, I don't know what the term for that is,
Yeah.
but it's not good. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Instagram because I just don't understand it. But I told the kids, I know there's social media out there. And all of a sudden, because we had one slip up one year, we're an irrelevant football program in the Valley. And we're not irrelevant. You know as well as I do. Ursuline football is not irrelevant. We've got to get back to where people are looking at us as a relevant football team.
But the schedule's kind of working against you.
It's not for the lighthearted, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better, you better strap it up every week because, listen, we created that image. I was here when we won 3 state titles in the title game 4 years. In my 14 years at Ursuline, I think we missed the playoffs 3 years out of 14. And I'm talking regional finals, 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round, and a championship. So, I can honestly say we are not as talented as we were in the championship years, but we're still
You got a good quarterback
we're a pretty
and
good
running back, and
football
you got to
team.
play good defense.
Yeah, we're a pretty good football team. And that's the one thing that was disappointing at Benedictine. I still call the defense, and, I went home and I didn't like myself because of the way we played defense. But we got that straightened around in the East game.
What keeps 40? You mentioned 42 years. What does it for you?
Just love, I love to be around the kids. I've got a great staff, as I mentioned, and those guys, they're keeping that glue between, let's say, me 42 years in and a guy who's 5 years in. I believe me, we had the music on last week, and the kids are requesting music. The coaches are putting music on. I said, okay.
You never heard some of the songs.
I said, I got 2 I want to hear. Notorious B.I.G.
Whoa.
And the kid said, he requested that.
Whoa.
And And there is one other one that escapes me right now.
Eminem or something like
No,
that?
it was no Eminem. No, listen, and I know the kids listen to rap and all that. Hey, if I hear terms that I don't want to hear, it's off right away. There's got to be clean versions, and that's what. But the coaches and we have a great working relationship to where it's still great. I love practice. I love the fact that game day is energetic. And again, I'm an old school guy where I don't want to talk to anybody game day. I've got my mindset. I'm focused. Some of the other guys.
You talked to me before the
Yeah,
game.
well, I'll talk to you, but I mean, some of the other guys, they want to chit chat about stuff I don't care about. I want to make sure that, we're focused on our deal. Once we get to Youngstown, it's all set.
I know you got to get back to your school, but before you go, you've been a part of 3 titles, as you said. How nice would that be to have Larry Kemp get one?
Well,
of his
motivate you, that's for sure, Gary. It does motivate you. I was the defensive coordinator for all 3 of them, but I wasn't a head coach. I'm not, it's going to be earth-shattering if we don't get one? No. But I want our kids to understand that you represent Ursuline High School, and you represent Ursuline football, which to me is, in my 5 stops, this is the best stop I've ever had. And I was at Niles for 20, Latonia for 4, I was at Girard for 4, I was at Matthews for 1. This is the best stop I've ever been at because they've never misled me, they've never lied to me. They've told me this is what it is, and you either adjust or the other places may have said, yeah, we're going to do it, and pull the rug out from underneath you. But before we leave the locker room before a game, their helmets are up, and 3 times we are Youngstown Ursuline, and I'm very proud of that.
Cool. Is there a number? Would 5 wins help you out this year?
5 or 6.
Is that the magic
Yeah.
of looking at your schedule?
I think
that's
5.
a tall order, isn't it?
I mean, like I said, that's why we play the game. You look at some people who don't think that we can, we can do this, and I firmly believe we can get 5 or 6. 7's a stretch. 7, you got to go. You better go. But I believe we can get 5 or 6, and that should put us in position. And you've got some big people in our region. You've got
Sure.
Cardinal Mooney. You've got Big Red.
We have Poland and Gerard here as well tonight.
Yeah,
They're
Gerard's there, and,
Right.
and Poland is
2 and 3.
yeah.
and
Poland's in the region, so there's good teams. And, everybody wants to do the best they possibly can, so you can't take anybody lightly. You're going to